And now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
This is the RBLR Rays podcast. I'm your host, Zach Dahl, along with my co-host, Pat Davenport. Pat, All-Star Weekend has ended, and it was a pretty awesome All-Star Week, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say so, especially if you're a Rays fan. We had lots of Rays representation, considering all our kind of whining and whinging about the lack of respect we get at the national level. The Rays had their fingerprints all over All-Star Weekend, which was really, really cool to see. And they did us very, very proud, I'd say, our guys. And yeah, it's been despite there being no real baseball game, it's been a busy week with quite a lot to talk about in Rays baseball land.
Yeah, I think the only disappointing element of the weekend was Aranda being chosen for that swing off and not having his best three swings, which is unfortunate, but that is what it is. And like you said, everything else was kind of awesome. And it was really cool. I was really glad that Rasmussen got in there. I think he pitched well enough to deserve being at the All-Star game and getting that accolade on, his Baseball Reference page like that. That means things to, those guys. It was really cool to see Bilal, even though he wasn't playing in the game, getting to spend the time there with his family and all the players kind of getting to be at that event. It's just really, really cool for them. And Junior, I mean, talk about showing out on the biggest stage. Just super awesome to see what, on the national stage we have been seeing, week in, week out, him kind of announcing himself. Again, I feel like he's done it a couple of times. He did it before the season started, and he did it again now, at the All-Star game, and is continuing to do it since then. So just honestly, a really, really good week in Rays baseball.
Yeah, I mean, Junior in the home run derby was awesome. He was my pick to win. It's a shame that he ran out of gas a little towards the end. I mean, you could start the conspiracy of should have Kyle O'Reilly qualified?
Is it an
based on? I mean, the copium in me says yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to copium my way to it. I still think the format's a bit cooked. I think you should, if you're tied on home runs, just have a swing off.
I agree. I don't really and I kind of think that, the reason for them doing it that way is to pump up the StatCast and all that, which MLB is clearly invested heavily in, and they're very deeply connected with all that. So fine, but it is a little bit I feel like it should be swing off, and then at the swing off, if you guys still have a winner, then maybe it can be the StatCast numbers or something play into it. Because I was looking up before the before the Derby started, I was looking up tiebreaker stuff, and the tiebreaker stuff is highest exit velocity, distance, all that. Which is I think because if the distances are tied, it goes to highest exit velo, which is
come on, man.
Okay, sure,
you would win that tiebreaker. Let me tell you that.
Well, yeah, and it was funny because when it was early in there, because Junior started off really strong, and then O'Neal Cruz came and kind of one upped him. So I was like, oh, is he going to have to get on, get to the next round on some of these other things? And he ended up not needing that. But I was like, oh, that was a little bit nerve wracking. But what's never nerve wracking is getting to share some Rays baseball discussion with all of you out there. We hope you enjoyed the festivities of All-Star Weekend. We hope you're enjoying the return to form, so far that the Rays have had coming back off the break. We hope you'll enjoy the show. We got a jam-packed show. We're gonna cover everything that happened during the All-Star break. We're going to cover all the transactions that have been going on, the injuries, some of that stuff that's been going on. We're going to talk a little draft. We're kind of going to recap the first half of the season a little bit and kind of level set where we are and talk about where we're going to go from here. So if you've got thoughts on any of that, don't hesitate to let us know about that over in the comments on YouTube. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. And if you are enjoying the show, drop us a like. It means a lot. So we'll kind of go back into we were talking All-Star game. We'll kind of go back into that. Any other big takeaways or things you enjoyed watching the boys at the All-Star break?
I mean, it's clear that they were all having a blast, which is, I think really important to me, that they're just having a good time and it makes them feel good. But Rasmussen was excellent.
Yes.
Aranda got a hit. Caminero got a hit. everyone came away with something. Right. Like, I know it didn't quite go to plan for Aranda in the swing off, but I don't think if this was a real baseball game that was going to get decided on a swing off, Aranda wouldn't be picked. Like, Aaron Judge wouldn't have went home after 5 innings, and stuff like that wouldn't have happened, because I love Johnny Aranda. He's a pure hitter, but he's not like a bopper. He's not the guy you'd want in the home run derby.
Yeah. He's got a little bit of pull power in him for sure. If it was at the Stein, maybe he could, get into a couple. And he does have home run power for sure. But he's a 20 bomb. He's a very much a Yandy Diaz. He's going to hit 15 to 20 bombs a season type of guy. And it goes back to some of the weird formatting of the All-Star game, which is all of the A-listers, quote unquote, were gone at that point in the game.
I hate that.
Which is very weird. It's just part of the way that MLB does the All-Star break. So
I get subbing them out, but I think going home midway through the game, I think that's bad.
It's weird. And I think it is a symptom of the fact that, and this is something that I was going to kind of throw to you as kind of a more conceptual thing around the All-Star break and the All-Star game in general. I think it's a symptom of the fact that if you are a part of the All-Star game, you don't get that much of a break.
Yeah.
It's fun. You're having a good time, but it's kind of like, when you have 2 weeks of vacation time a year and you end up going to see family for all those 2 weeks. You're having a great time. You wouldn't have it any other way, but it's not necessarily restful. You're not you're not relaxing really. You're going and doing stuff with people and you're having a great time and it's awesome. But it's not relaxing and you're not resting your body really. And if you're playing and if you're doing the home run derby, it makes sense. You probably want to get home and rest. So my kind of throw to you is, what do you think about the idea of extending All-Star week a little bit more so that even if you play in the game, you still get 4 or 5 days off and you don't have this, scenario where guys feel like, hey, I got to get home and rest a little bit before the second half starts.
Yeah, I like that idea, because usually it's the Monday, the home run derby, Tuesday, the All-Star game, and then games restart on the Friday. Why don't you just take that weekend off as well?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, just those extra couple of days. And that gives teams also an opportunity to kind of not have to be so finicky with their post All-Star game rotations.
Right.
Because, for example, Rasmussen pitched in the All-Star game, so they want to give him the longest amount of time possible to rest, and he'll be the last guy to pitch coming out of the break. But if we had this weekend off, they could probably go, well, he's still going to get 5 days rest anyway. So we can kind of order the rotation whatever way we want, because everyone's going to have that time. So yeah, I think everyone deserves a break, including the All-Stars. So I'm for that idea, I think.
Because it becomes this weird thing where you're almost not in the sense of the accolade obviously is awesome and the exposure is excellent, but in a sense of your ability to perform at the highest level during the regular season to get to the playoffs, you almost end up being punished for making it to the All-Star game. And if you think about the guys that are late game replacements, right? Even more so, where you don't even get the option to leave early. You're there for the whole thing. Aranda, he was there at the Derby and he was there for the whole weekend, and then he's there at the end of the game. That's his whole So again, I don't think any of them would be no, I don't want to be an All-Star because of this. But you do see some players opt out of the playing part of it, and that's how Junior ended up being the starter. Is people are I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather just rest. I'll come to the All-Star game. I really like the idea that you put out there of let's just call the weekend, start it back up on Monday. Let's just, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And again, I do think you could maybe use that time, to still kind of promote the game a little bit, whether that is, building up to the All-Star game and being in the middle of the week or towards the end of the week, and let the first couple of days of the week be more about showcasing your prospects, do more with the futures game, the events that they did last year, which they didn't do again this year, bring that stuff back. The skills challenge, really focus on your prospects and bring those guys in. the idea of growing the game and baseball having a moment in the spotlight to be the number one sport, because right now we are the only major sport going in America, at least, that's going right now. So maximize that. Take the whole week. You're not competing with anything. Take that entire time and let it be, a celebration of baseball. And I feel like right now it's truncated, and the All-Star game is like they go to a swing off, and the home run derby feels like we're trying to get it over as quickly as possible sometimes. Like it just feels like let it breathe a little bit.
Right.
And let us,
100%.
because one of the things that makes baseball great to me is there's the suspense of it all. And it feels like some of that has kind of been like evaporated out of All-Star weekend, which, you want to celebrate that part of the game, I would say.
Yeah, I think you're right. When it feels like a rush, it feels like a kind of like a chore for the players. And that's why some opt out of it. And I think you're right. To create that true celebration of baseball that you want, you need to make the players feel like they're going to still get that time off. So I completely agree. Hello to anyone tuning in that was wondering our opinions on the current Rays-Orioles series. A quick update on that is the game has restarted now. Ian Seymour is in the game pitching. After Pepio went 6, Seymour's going to take over in the top of the 7th. It's 5-2 Orioles after a 2.5-hour rain delay. If anything changes, we'll keep you updated here on the pod. So stay tuned. But do you have any other thoughts on like the All-Star game? I guess we should talk about the draft as well. That was the other thing that happened over that kind of weekend. The Rays picked 14th, their highest pick since 2017, where they drafted Brendan McKay in that year. But we drafted a 18-year-old athletic, glove first, contact tool first shortstop in Daniel Pierce, and we have signed him for a little below slot value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is, the pick of a prep shortstop who the word on him is he can stick at shortstop long term. Like, that's not a surprising move for the Rays to do. Great to get him below slot value from a financial standpoint, I guess. But it's, it's a position where I don't want to say it's a position of need, but it definitely is a position where, I think it was good for us to reload at that position as Carson Williams has graduated, out of the system, to kind of backfill that with another guy who we hope can develop. It makes sense to make a pick like that.
Yeah, and I want to address this. We kind of addressed it on last week's show with Carter and Ben, but there was why do we always draft shortstops? Why do we always draft shortstops? It feels like every year we draft a shortstop. Why do we do that? I guess to address that point of why do we always draft a shortstop is because really you are not drafting, most teams anyway, are not drafting one based on positional need, because you can never predict what your positional need is going to be by the time these guys are major league ready. Okay. And also you most of the time take whoever the best player available is, regardless of position, because roster jams are a social construct, as we say on this podcast a lot. And also the reason that shortstops and center fielders go so often is because they are the most athletic profile of player, which gives them the ability to, if they don't work out at shortstop, they can quite easily transition to a corner outfield or second or third. Like Junior Caminero was developed originally as a shortstop. I don't know this for sure, but I would hazard a guess that Brandon Lau was originally developed as a shortstop. Most guys who play shortstop in high school and college are the players that are considered athletic enough to get it done at the major league level. They have the right level of athleticism. So that's why they always go before any other position, because their athleticism makes them the most versatile when they develop into whatever other position. Because if you say we drafted Xavier Isaac, right? If he does not work out, if he's not an insanely good bat, like a 120 to 130 WRC plus major league bat, he's not valuable at anything else. He can only play first base or DH, right? And that's what makes those so much more of a risk. Meanwhile, if Daniel Pierce isn't a great hitter, he could still develop into a great fielder at any of the infield positions. And there's loads of backup options for him. Same with center fielders. So that's kind of why we always draft shortstops, because we also drafted a center fielder in the comp round as well. And then we drafted in the second round, we drafted another shortstop. So that's just what the Rays do. Interestingly, it took them a while to draft a pitcher. I don't think their first pitching pick came for quite some time. So just
the Rays' way of acquiring pitching talent traditionally has not been through the draft. Like they just don't. That's just not how they've acquired a lot of their best pitching talent. They tend to do it through trade. And they do it kind of what, sneak peek of what we might talk about is they acquired at the All-Star break, trading from positions of strength to acquire pitching that they like, that's already been partially developed, that they think they can get more out of. And that's the Rays playbook. And I think your point about drafting the best available and the guys who have the talent to do, multiple things. We even see that at the major league level. You look at guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., you look at guys like Jazz Chisholm. You look at guys like Javi Baez now, who they have talent and they can play in multiple locations. And if you can do that, you will go a long way at the major league level. Even if you initially were a shortstop, if you have that athleticism, that ability, they'll find a place for you to play if you can hit a little bit, And so that to me is just another, example of how the Rays are always looking to maximize their roster construction all the way down to the minor league level. They look to construct versatile rosters and a versatile organization that is not locked into anything. They pride themselves on versatility and adaptability. And this is just another evidence of that.
Yeah, 100%. And again, the MLB draft is a funny one where, like, even with your first round pick, it's going to take, at least, unless they're like a stud like a Paul Skeens, it's going to take a couple of years, at least.
Yeah, even the number 2 pick from the same draft as Skeens is still, not quite made it up yet, and the number 1 pick from last year has not quite made it up yet. So like it's sometimes it's honestly rare, and you only ever see guys that get drafted and get up to the league quickly is when they've played college. And honestly, if they played college in the SEC, they tend to make it up quickly because, no offense as a Gators fan, the SEC is the closest you're going to get to minor league baseball, like semi-pro baseball, before you get to the show. So those guys, the Jack Cagliones, the Wyatt Langfords, Paul Skeens of the world, they tend to be a little faster trajectory. But yeah, I mean, this is a guy who, we wish him well. We'll see you in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, right. I mean, even like our first round pick in 2022 was Xavier Isaac. Right. He's still in AA?
Correct.
So and that was 3 years ago, where I would not expect to see him until at least next year, but possibly even 2027.
Yeah, so, even Trey Morgan, who played in the SEC, even he is still slow, is taking a little longer to develop. And even we thought he was developing a little quicker than Isaac, but he's still, taking time to develop. So that's just the nature of, I think it's sort of why, the draft, I think, is harder to market than like the NBA or the NFL draft, because the number 1 pick in the NBA or the NFL draft is starting day 1 for that team 9 times out of 10, right? That is never going to happen. Even Skeens didn't start day 1 for the Pirates. It's pretty close. It was pretty close. Yeah. They didn't waste much time, but like, even the best of the best are not immediately going to show up. Like Langford, he was pretty quick. Recent example. Him and Skeens are both very quickly up to the major leagues, but still, it doesn't beat the drafting a quarterback day 1 or whatever, and he's your game 1 starter. It's just very different. So, it's a lot more of a, hey, here's these guys, learn their names, and then, check in every couple of weeks and see how they're doing in the minors. And then we'll see you in 2 or 3 years to where you could have it. What you do affects the major league roster.
100%. Even Carson Williams was our 2021 first round pick, and he's probably a next year thing now. Maybe we might see him for a cup of coffee at the end of this year, but more likely
Yeah.
it's 2026. So that's 5 years. 5 years from being drafted to the major league level, and he's a good prospect. So the first half of the baseball season actually finished a long time ago, and we're close to being 100 games in now. But we're through the symbolic first half of the season. We've got off to a good start in the second half, going 2-0. But let's talk about the first half. How has the first half of the season either met or played with your expectations of what this team was supposed to be coming into the 2025 season?
I think as I look back over the games we've played so far, the thing that sticks in my mind the most is that we have seen something from this year's team that we did not see from last year's team, which is that they have a higher gear than just 500 baseball. They have that gear in them. The offense has 6 to 7 runs a game in them. The pitching staff, from a starting pitching perspective, has 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs every night, and the bullpen has, the rest of the way with no runs allowed or 1 run allowed in them for extended stretches. And of course, every, in a stretch like that, there's always shuffling between who's doing their job the best that night, right? But we saw that. And even though it's kind of funny, we're basically in the exact same place today as we were at the end of April, when I would have said I was really worried. At the end of April, we were about 6 games back in the division and a half game out of the wild card. We're basically in the exact same position now, unfortunately, because we had a rough end to the pre-All-Star. We had a rough run before the All-Star break where it just felt like the team was just needed a break badly and was just trying to get there as quickly as possible. And it was tough to get swept to end that. That was really tough. You would have loved to salvage a game. But we've seen that higher gear. So as much as, it would be easy to say, well, yeah, I mean, they're just an okay team, and that's just what they are. I think that they do have that higher gear as guys are getting healthy, as the bullpen, the guys that we are forced to rely on are getting phased out a little bit, as we're bringing, as the trades may happen. Probably nothing major, but we definitely could see more Brian Baker type moves where it's a small piece to kind of supplement what we already have. Something like that might happen. This team has the horses to go on a run, where last year I kind of deluded myself into thinking that, because on the talent roster of the team made sense that they would have some kind of a run in them. This year we've seen, proof of concept that this team can go on a run. And that, to me, gives me a lot of hope for the second half. It is great that the Rays have come out of the break swinging, so to speak. They've won the first series out of the break, have a chance to sweep. Not looking awesome right now. The chances aren't looking amazing right now, but still, to win the first series out of the break, it's what we needed them to do. They're going to get the White Sox next at home, have a chance to continue to get good momentum before a tough road trip. This is what we would have wanted to see from them coming out of the All-Star break. So I'm very optimistic. And the first half did nothing to tell me that they can't go on a run. And honestly, after the way the first month of the season went, if you'd have told me you're going to get to the All-Star break and you're going to have proof of concept that this team can go on a run, I would say I'm good with that.
Yeah. I think for me, this team has met my expectations, overall, but the way we've got there has been really weird. Yeah. If coming out of spring training, future us, we went back in time and we went on the end of spring training pod and we went, hey guys, Zach and Pat from the past. This team is kind of on pace for around 90 wins and is probably is looking in a decent shape to make one of the wild cards. I would go, yeah, that sounds about right for this team.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we were optimistic and we're like, hey, if everything falls the way we want, maybe they could make a run at the division. But I think we all kind of said that, realistically, this is probably a 90 to 95 win team that, its upper ceiling could challenge for the division, get like 97 wins, but like in most scenarios would finish between 90 and 95 and get a wild card. That's what this team's doing.
Yep.
It's just that we had a rubbish April and a rubbish July and a really good June and late May. So it's been a weird order, but like the overall pace of wins across the first half is exactly kind of what I expected of this team. I guess we will, and you know what, the rotation's been good, and we expected that. And the defense has been pretty good. We expected that. And the hitting has been sometimes really good, sometimes really bad. I think we could have expected that as well.
Yeah.
So I think overall, this is exactly what we expected from this team. It's just come in weird fits and starts. Like we all expected Jonathan Aranda to have a good season, and look, he did. We all expected Junior Caminero to kind of be the deciding factor of the offense, and you know what? When he's hitting well, we usually win. Like it's all the stuff that we like drew. It's rare that it happens this on paper. Yeah. I guess, like, what for you are the biggest surprises of this season, for good or for bad?
I think the biggest surprise for me is that the bullpen has been so shaky. And some of that is due to injury, but, like, the fact that Mason Montgomery did not take the next step, and Uceda took the step back we all kind of expected. And then Kelly was hurt coming into the season. And then now Monty is gone, probably for the season. That is all we couldn't really predict that. And it's not really their fault, but that's probably the biggest surprise, is because we normally are so confident in the bullpen. And through things not necessarily in their control, we are now relying on guys that we did not anticipate relying on when the season started. And that's been the most surprising thing so far. I don't think it's necessarily something we don't have the ability to overcome, but it definitely was like the thing that I like. If we are losing games because of the bullpen, that is not what we associate with Rays baseball. At least not when we've been good over the last several years.
Yeah, agree. So interestingly, reports came out today that the Rays were one of a few teams with a visible scout presence at the Rockies Twins game today. And I think for me, Rockies and Twins, the main thing you're going to be looking at is their relievers. People like Griffin Jacks, like Cole Sands, Jake Bird, maybe even. Like there's guys there that the Rays could go get. Also Harrison Bader as well is a very Rays player that they've had interest in the past. Do you think the Rays need to go get a bullpen arm?
I've kind of gone back and forth on this over the past couple of weeks. I really don't like trading for bullpen arms. I've said this a couple of times on the show. Traded for Baker, which it was a very bad look on his first outing as a Ray, because he immediately came in and blew a game, which I thought was weird. We got into this discussion on the Rays, RBLR Rays Discord, about why did they bring him in after, he literally got there that day and they threw him in the game. And I thought that was a little strange. But he'll be fine, I'm sure. But I don't love trading for bullpen arms. And the good news is, even though Manny's probably done, Faedo is in Durham right now rehabbing. Nate Lavender is working his way back. And then here's the one that I want to throw this to you, because this is something that I've been kind of workshopping for the last 2 weeks in my head a little bit. Shane McClanahan coming back from injury. He had a start, I think, Friday night, where he had a bit of a rough start, but that's okay. He's going to have rough starts. But I sort of got to thinking about the way the rest of the season is going to go and where he fits into things. And I thought to myself, okay, if we trade Littell or Bradley, which is the kind of what is being thrown out there as what could happen is maybe we trade a starter because we have Seymour, Boyle, those guys, they could start. And then Shane is coming back. So you could trade Bradley or Littell and you would be okay. That's the conventional kind of thought on that. But what if they don't trade any of their starters? What do you do with Shane when he comes back? What if you say, what if Eric Neander and Kyle Snyder and Kevin Cash drive up to Durham on an off day and sit down with Shane and say, we need you this season. But with the way that our roster is constructed right now and the way that with the injuries we've had, we might need you more as your high-octane self for 2 innings than a lesser version of yourself for 5 or 4. Can you, either as a opener type or as a 7-8 guy, could you play that role for us? Are you like, what do you like? We want to use you this way. Are you on board? Do you think that there's any chance that they're thinking about that conversation?
I think so. I mean, like, they did it with Drew Rasmussen. They said, right, you're going to be our 2-inning relief weapon just for the remainder of this year before we re-stretch you back out next year. I think that'll be way more useful. And we could even trade a Littell or a Bradley and then just have Joe Boyle be in the rotation full time, which I think I think that's a better utilization of those arms than keeping Boyle as a reliever for 2-3 innings. Yeah. So, and I'd honestly rather that than Bradley in the rotation at this point. So, yeah, I love that idea. And that means with Mason Montgomery out, McClanahan can kind of take his role plus a bit of extra length.
Yeah, and the reason kind of that I brought it up is because the Rays have already done this with Shane McClanahan. They just did it in 2020 but the difference is he went from starting all season to then going to the bullpen, which is why at this point in his rehab, he's at a point where it's kind of at a crossroads. You know, he's building up to like 2-3 innings. You could either keep building up as a starter, which, by the way, whichever way they decide to go on this, if they feel like it's better for his long-term development to rebuild back up to being a starter, good with it. But I just wonder if there's a thought of, what if instead we decide we're going to focus on building you up for 2 to 3 innings, 3 innings at a max, more likely 2 innings, and give us like 2022 or 2021 Shane McClanahan for 2 innings. Because the version that you're going to get of him in, at the end of this season is just not going to be the best version of Shane McClanahan. It just won't be. It's just not going to happen. Even if he does work himself back up to where he can go 4 innings. But maybe he could give you that for 2 innings. So that's just kind of a thought. They could, and the reason why I thought about kind of that process is I think the idea, like imagine you have a game where Littell starts and then you go to Shane. You could still do this with Boyle. Same idea, but the idea of you go from a finesse pitcher to a high octane power guy for multiple innings, right? Maybe you get a time through the order with completely changing the look from the starter that comes in. Ross has good stuff too, great stuff even. But again, you go from, a more finesse guy to a traditional power pitcher with 4 pitches that can go 2 to 3 innings. That would be an interesting look to throw teams late in the season / in the postseason. So that is kind of my thought on, what the Rays should do at the deadline. I really don't see a huge need for a trade, but it's because I think they have enough arms in the system, however they want to do it. Because if they bring Shane up to do, to be a starter, Ross and Littell have bullpen experience. They can go back to the bullpen, right? And now Boyle's getting experience in the bullpen. You got a lot of arms. I think we can make it work. But that's just sort of my thought. Are you on the same page, or you think we need somebody?
I love that idea. I still think we could probably do with somebody, but I don't think it will be a name like a Griffin Jacks, who's like one of the more high profile, because those guys, like, he'll probably command a Jason Adam-like return. which I still think was massive, right? So we got to be careful. I don't want to, and relievers are, if anything, volatile.
Yes.
It's like from game to game, you never know what you're going to get. Look at Brian Baker, right?
Yep.
Like he could be really good for the rest of the season, but I feel like already he's having to fight an uphill battle reputation-wise.
Yep.
Because he was so good and didn't walk anybody and then turns up and walks 3 batters and blows the game. Like, that's what happens with relievers. They'll do that. Fairbanks yesterday made it pretty darn close. Like, so, and he's, lights out, but he's not without his dramatics. So I just, paying a lot for a guy, I think it'll be more like what we did when we got Nick Anderson, where not many people knew about him.
Yes.
And he was like waiting to break out in a higher profile role. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of reliever we'll probably end up getting. I could see Harrison Bader being on the agenda, though, if Johnny DeLuca's rehab stalls, or if, Josh Lowe gets hurt again, or, whatever.
Yeah, I like the idea of Harrison Bader, but it kind of, to me, like, is it worth the assets to get someone who's a slightly better Jake Mangum for, like, short term? Like, because I don't know, like, he's not, like, because you've kind of got your, I really like having, whether it's Bader or Mangum, I like having 2 chaos ball type guys in the lineup. The only thing with Bader is he has a little bit of power in his swing, which can be dangerous sometimes for players. Because because when you get to the Kevin Kiermaier thing, right, where KK had a little too much power in his bat for his own good and would try to sometimes not maximize who he is as a player, or guys like Simpson and Mangum know, I'm not going to hit 20 bombs a year, but what I am going to do is get on base as much as humanly possible and literally cause hell for whoever's on the mound trying to figure out what's going on behind them, right? I love having those guys on the roster. I don't know enough about Bader, only what I've seen of him in the couple of times I've seen him play, for the Yankees, for the Cardinals beforehand. I don't know that he has that same mindset of guys like Mangum, who I honestly I would rather have that guy on the roster, honestly. I don't think it's worth any significant assets, which you probably would have to give up to get him. I just don't think it's worth it.
Luis Roberts going to be in town next week.
How did I know? And I don't even hate it. Like I'm kind of there with you, because my other, to jump back a topic for us, the other kind of big takeaway from the first half of the season for me was, man, we're bad versus left-handed pitching. And I dove into it a little bit. Right now, for the season, we're sitting at an 87 WRC plus for the season against left-handed pitching, which is good for 20th best in Major League Baseball, which might not be as bad as you would have thought. And it's because I did a little kind of poking around about this when I saw that number. And the reality kind of is, in general, all of Major League Baseball is a little worse versus left-handed pitching. And that's because roughly it's a 3-to-1 ratio of right-handed pitchers to left-handed pitchers, just very roughly. And so, there's a lot more than just that, but you see them less. And, because of that, and because of, a lot of other things, but one of the things going in there is the league is actually tilted slightly more left-handed from a batting perspective than right-handed, which is interesting. Results in some of that, that number being low, and in the eye test performance, especially against starting pitching, being not very good. And what also feeds into that is the guys who are our primary right-handed bats have not been great against left-handed pitching. Guys like Junior Caminero, 94 WRC plus. Our best guy versus left-handed pitching is Danny Jansen with a 129. Yandy Diaz is only sitting at a 107, and that's climbing because he's really turned it around in the last 35 games. I think he's really turned it around and played more like himself, which is great. Love to see that. But Morel hasn't worked out. Mead, when he was up, just wasn't that great. He was starting to come on towards the end, but he didn't really have a role on the team with Kim coming back. Kim should help a little bit with that. It's been a, about as expected, slow-ish start. Had a great game yesterday, and we expect him to round into form as things go on. But so far, the team just hasn't been very good against left-handed pitching. And when you look back at previous years, they were very good against left-handed pitching because of guys like Yandy when he's at his best, Randy, Isak, Harold, whatever you think about him, was great against left-handed pitching. And we don't really have that lefty killer on this roster. Because to me, a lefty killer is like a 150-plus guy. We don't have that. Even Danny Jansen, who is good and above average significantly against lefty pitching, he's also like he's so bad behind the plate that it almost balances itself out, and it's even worse than when he's against right-handed pitching. But they don't have those guys on this team anymore, and the thing that hurts is that Morel was traded for Isak Paredes, and he has not filled that hole on this team. He just has never quite rounded into form. I'm not ready to give up on him completely, but it just hasn't looked good. And so that's kind of the other big takeaway is, struggling against left-handed pitching. And the hope is the guy that you really want to kill lefties is Junior and Yandy, of course. But Junior, you really want to be a lefty killer, and he's not quite there yet. He may get there eventually. We hope he will. And we hope that Kim will sort of help with that as well. You hope that they'll slowly move that direction. But your guy from Chicago, I don't know if he's actually from Chicago right now, probably not. But your guy who's currently playing in Chicago would be a pretty easy, plug and play fix to that.
Yep, and he can play good outfield, play center field. So
I guess, what do you think it would take to get him?
Isn't he a rental? Isn't he a free agent?
Rental. Yeah, it would be a rental.
So maybe a Curtis Mead plus lottery ticket.
I don't really know I don't know enough about the White Sox just to know what they need.
Because let's look at Nelson Cruz, right?
Right.
When we got Nelson Cruz, that cost a major league ready, just about to break through major league ready prospect.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's Curtis Mead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like that trade more than most. I think most people see that trade as a net negative. It becomes more of a net negative when one of my primary things I liked about the trade was that Nelson Cruz was there to mentor a certain young player who is no longer on the team. That was kind of the thing that I liked about it. And never mind, I'm just going to leave that alone. But anyway, whatever you think about that trade, that was a steep price because Joe Ryan, while not an ace necessarily, has been a good three starter in a major league rotation. That's a steep price to give up for 1 year of Nelson Cruz,
and a bad Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz, who just never figured it out, who I guess had the same problem that Willie did, where he couldn't hit in the drop. Just crazy. I will never understand. I just don't understand it. How players repeatedly tell you, "Hey, I can't hit here. Why can't you guys fix it?" I don't know. That's probably a whole other conversation.
Zach, we're gonna have to. We totally didn't think about this before we came on air. Was that Patrick Zalewski? Was that Patrick Zalewski calling?
No, that was Stu. Sorry, I put him on voicemail.
Because we got to talk about that.
Yes.
That's news that broke. Stu. Stu, not now, buddy.
Not now. Not now.
The Rays are reportedly in advanced stages to be sold to a group led by Patrick Zalewski, a Jacksonville-based property developer, for $1.7 billion US. This isn't the first we heard of the group, but now the story has developed to a point where they are now expected. People are saying the sale could be through as soon as September, as they are kind of in the point now where they're kind of sorting out paperwork and looking for major league approval and passing vet checks and stuff. I mean, we've kind of talked about this ad nauseum throughout the offseason, and I think our stance probably remains the same no matter who's buying the team, in that Stu kind of burned all his bridges in terms of trying to keep the Rays in the area sustainably.
Right.
So he would either have had to have sold or moved the team.
Right.
And selling looks like it's going to keep the team in the Bay Area. And apparently people are saying that it's not beyond the realms of possibility that the Rays re-pursue a Ybor Harbor plan for a new stadium, which is great. But we got to be careful of any new owner and their attitude towards the management and the front office. Because if the Rays get off to a bad start next year after being sold, owners sometimes like to go, okay, we're now going to get our guys in.
Right.
So I think that's the thing we got to be worried about, because Stu, with all his problems, he was very good at setting up the best clubhouse culture and front office in Major League Baseball, and then going, I'm not going to tamper with that now. I'm just going to let that run itself. And another owner might not do that.
Yeah. And you know, in a weird, sort of thing that's happened a couple of times now, the Rays have gotten off to slow starts in a couple of recent seasons. And I would hate for and again, we've talked about this a little bit before, because we've talked about, if Eric ever left, because I think there was like some openings for GM. We talked about this a little bit, but the way that the system is built and the structure of the organization is built in such a way that if they did fire guys, unless they just said we're changing the total organizational philosophy, which would be pretty odd because the team's been so good, it's probably going to survive even firing a catcher in Neander, but it would still not be good. And that is, you're 100% right. It's kind of the only real concern we have. I always have said my ideal scenario, my like perfect world, is where an owner comes in, says, here's 30 million more a year-ish or more, maybe 50 million more a year. Here you go, Eric. Just keep doing your thing. I'm going to go watch from my box, and that's it. But here's a little bit more money. That's my ideal world. To me, like, it doesn't make a huge difference to me whether it's in Tampa or St. Pete, because I don't live there, unfortunately. So it doesn't make a huge difference to me, but I know what for the longevity of the team and the growth of the team, Tampa makes more sense than St. Petersburg in a lot of ways. So I'm kind of okay with, whatever they decide to do, whether it's figuring it out in St. Pete or moving to Tampa. A lot of discussions about some land development going on in Tampa, and some noted people in the community who have the capital and are acquiring land and may be interested in partnering there. We'll see. There's a lot of things that come out. Here's some designs for Tampa Stadium. I'm not really paying attention to any of that very deeply until we get much farther along in this process. But whatever else that happens, I just hope that this new ownership group, because one of the things we know about them is that they already own some minor league teams. So what I hope they're smart enough to know, because I don't know anything about these guys, I hope that they are smart enough to know what they don't know, and know that the guys currently installed really know how to run a baseball team, which you would hope, if they're local-ish, that they're fans of the team and they see how well run the team is and can say, I just need to give Eric Neander $50 million a year more to work with, and then step back and watch the Rays win 20 World Series. That's what we would hope. It's just going to be a question of what will happen. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think, like you said, we just cannot underestimate the value of an owner who just, outside of maybe messing around with how much you're allowed to spend on players, basically has his hands off the wheel. Ask a Cowboys fan or any New York sports team fan how that works out, having involved owners.
Yeah, 100%. The last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is I need to catastrophize for a second.
Okay, do it.
Hypothetically, the Rays lose today, which they might do, they're down 5-2 as we are about to start the bottom of the ninth.
Not looking great.
Yeah, Batista's going to come in as well. And then we lose 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, and we lose 2 out of 3 to the Reds. And then we're going into that Yankee series, which kind of runs up to the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Let's say 3 or 4 games out of the wild card instead of 1.
Sure.
Does this team sell? Is Yandy gone? Is like, as we talked about Taj or Littell, kind of whether on whatever position we're in, we might deal a starter just to trade need for need or whatever. But in those scenarios, is Yandy gone? Is Fairbanks gone?
So what we know about the team is that they do not like to trade from positions of weakness. They do not like to trade young, controllable talent, generally speaking. So, like, I think the names you mentioned are the only ones that would really be up on the block, which you could make the argument that even if they were to trade all of the people you mentioned, they could still contend with the roster as constructed, with guys they could bring up. They could still contend with that team. That being said, I don't think so. I think when you want, and the reason I don't think so is at the All-Star break, Eric Neander made several comments really alluding to how much they worked on creating a positive chemistry in this clubhouse because they believed in the talent of this team and wanted to help move it in the right direction. They felt that the clubhouse just maybe wasn't quite where they wanted it to be last year, and they really put some effort into to make sure that chemistry was there, to bring the guys together. And I think that some of that is, predicated on, hey guys, we're not going to break this team up. We believe in this team. We're not selling. And it's a business, and anything can change at any time, right? But I really think that their posture is, we believe in this team, and like, honestly, even if that worst does happen and we're 5 games out of the wild card, we've already seen this team go on a run and make up, whatever it was. We were down like 9 games on the Yankees at one point, and we made that up, and we're briefly tied for the lead in the division for like 35 seconds. But we did do that. And that team didn't go anywhere. It's all still there. So I don't think so. But if we did decide to sell, I don't think it would, like, we're not trading anybody who is going to affect our ability to compete. Like, they're not trading. I don't think they're trading Rasmussen, not trading Pepio. They're not trading any of the core of the team, really. The only guys that might be up on the block are the Yandys, the Fairbanks, maybe the Bilaus of the world. But again, like, the value there, like, it doesn't, I just, like, for me, Yandy and Bilau both, like, maybe they've played well enough, over the last 2 months to build their value to a point where they have some value. But like, I just don't know if their value is where the Rays would want them to be to get the return that they feel is adequate for the talent level they're trading away in Yandy and Bilau, who are both guys that the Rays view very highly.
I think I agree with you on Bilau. I think Yandy's been getting some national attention. I know people said the Red Sox are in need of a first baseman.
Yeah.
And they might look at him. Trading into divisional to a rival like that in the wild card race would suck.
That would
I
suck.
don't know who the Red Sox.
I would be upset.
Give us Roman Anthony, please. And then we'll maybe talk about it. I don't know if they do that, but
I would hope not. I would hope that just because, like, if that were the case, then it's like, all right, is he cooked? Like, is this like he cooked or something? Like, he's gonna explode in like a year or something. That would be the only switch for that.
But like, I could see a world where Yandy gets traded and Fairbanks especially gets traded in a sell. Yes, Bilau, I don't think so.
I had a dream nightmare a couple of weeks ago where the Rays traded Brandon Lau and a reliever for Jack Caglione to allow the Royals to have immediate power to contend, and they just mortgaged their future. And I was in a glass case of emotion in this dream. I don't know why I told you that, but I guess it sort of was tangentially related to this.
It's the most Zach Dabb dream that maybe has ever happened.
It was very distressing. It was a lot. It was a lot going on.
What are your baseball dreams and nightmares? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. What transaction would be your perfect melding of dream and nightmare?
Right. I'm trying to think what mine be. I think it would probably involve. I'm going to come back to you next week on that. I'm going to do some homework. Jansen drew a leadoff walk against Bautista in the bottom of the ninth. But Caballero and Walls are due up next. So I think we might love you and leave you on that. Or do you want us to keep talking and see how the end of the game pans out?
Oh, I think let's stick it out. Let's stick it out for at least because if Cabby grounds out and grounds do a double play, then we'll call it.
I think it's slightly telling that in this scenario with a righty on the mound, Lau is not hitting for Caballero.
Yeah, so I guess that's one of the things we should talk about briefly while we're discussing all of this. As I get the stream up on my
Caballero struck out.
Caballero struck out. It's unfortunate. Belau they say it's a foot thing for him, that they don't expect it to be like a long-term thing, but he did get pulled from yesterday's game after coming back off the IL after the All-Star break. So they said he was available today, but obviously they didn't just bench him right there, and they could do it as well right now for Walls, not doing that either. So they must either not feel like they have a good chance to win this game, which is a little depressing, or they just don't really don't want to put him out there, which is fine, whatever. So that's there. Kim, after being a little skidged up, has played every day since coming back from the All-Star break, so that's good to see. I feel like there was another transaction that happened that I was thinking we need to talk about. I guess Emrod being gone for the season was kind of confirmed. We kind of already thought that may be the case.
Yeah.
But it's confirmed. Biggie is still recovering from getting hit in the face. And he did have an arm issue before that anyway. So no real confidence on when he might be back. But they do think that he could be back to baseball activities pretty soon. He's mostly recovered from getting hit in the face. And then it'll just be building back up to pitching again, and we'll have to kind of see what that looks like. But there is still a possibility we can get Biggie back at some point, which again kind of goes back to I don't necessarily think we need to make a trade, because I do think that there are guys out there in the system that we could still bring in.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Joe Rock's yet to have a look. Evan Reifert was injured, but is now rehabbing.
Rock was up briefly, wasn't he? For just a minute. He did.
Yeah.
But not an extended look. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got guys like Ozzy can still come up and have another go. Is he on the team right now, or is he down?
I think he's down. Cure is another name that we could see make an appearance. There's lots of guys that again. Guys. I just don't feel like, and I don't know, I'd have to really look back into it. I just don't feel like there's a whole lot of stories of trading for high profile relievers. Like you mentioned the Twins. It would take a lot to get this guy, but let's say you go out and trade for Johan Duran, right?
Yeah.
Who is a top whatever.
Top 10 closer?
Top 10 closer in baseball, sure. It would take a lot to get him, but I feel like there's just as many stories. Oh, that got through. It did. Okay.
So it's now going to be 5-3 Rays. Taylor Walls has just singled. Chandler Simpson comes up as the tying run.
Okay.
He gets the chance to extend the hit streak, as he has hitless today.
This is very much still a baseball game, because Chandler can find a way on base. Walls is fast enough to get to second.
If Chandler gets on base, then I think Yandy's hitting after him. So that would be enough. If Yandy could go deep after Simpson reaches, that we win the game.
Yeah. Okay.
It's that simple. We're a bloop and a blast away, folks. We're a bloop and a blast away. In fact, we're just a blast for tying it, a bloop and a blast from winning it.
We are
and Chandler Simpson is the perfect bloop guy.
He is. And is that a weak pop out to the awesome? Drop it.
Simpson popped up on the first pitch to the third baseman.
Immediately.
The hit streak is over for Simpson.
That's
18 games.
Yeah.
Unless for some reason, like somehow we go to extras and we bat around.
That'd be pretty funny. All right.
Oh no, it's Kim.
Kim. Here we go. How about a Kim? He showed some power early.
Hassan Kim hero time.
Could we see it? He's been good so far.
And then it's Yandy, and then it's Cammy.
He's been good defensively. Kim has. I've been very impressed with his defense early.
I think he's been having good at bats as well.
He has been.
He's been a bit unlucky.
Yes, he has. His plate discipline has been as advertised, I would say, so far. That's one of the things that was talked about the most kind of when he was brought on, is that he has great plate discipline. And I've been really impressed with that aspect of his game so far. Like even in the first pitch of this at bat, close fastball on the edge that he takes, a tough take, but gets him in an advantageous count. Now that might allow Walls to get to second.
We're probably gonna have to do a watch along soon, as Eureka producer is producer Eureka producer. That's his last name.
Yes.
Eureka producer RBLR. That's his full name.
Yes.
Eureka, in inverted commas, producer, like he's a wrestler or something. Last name RBLR.
Yeah. Let us know if there's a game that you guys, would be interested in us doing a watch along for.
I'd love to.
And if you guys are excited about that, and also if you want to know when we do go live, if we ever do a watch along, which we probably will. It's probably not a if it's more of a when we do a watch along. If you want to know when we're going live, do us a massive favor and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on any of the socials so the second we go live, so you can be a part of the conversation and just talk some ball with us.
Right? Yeah, we love talking with you guys. Get involved in the discussion. Oh, that was a good 3-0 pitch.
That was a good 3-0 pitch.
What I was going to say, and also while you're here, we better let you know what you already know, just to remind you that there is amazing sports apparel going on at shop.rblrsports.com, and the promo code Flappy gets you 10% off. And there's an amazing roundtable every week as well, discussing stuff.
There is.
So Hassan Kim's walked.
Yes.
So now the tying runs at first with 2 outs, and the go-ahead run steps to the plate in the form of Yandy Diaz.
It does. Which, if Yandy either walks, which Batista has been a little wild.
Yeah, he's walked 2 guys today.
Yeah, and that was a 5-pitch walk to Kim. And Yandy is a guy who's not going to let you get away with, not being in the zone. He's a guy who will take his walks. He obviously wants to go deep or to put a double out in the outfield. But he also does know how to take his walks. There's also in play Walls and Kim. Walls was stealing on that 3-1 pitch, which ended up being a walk, and he stole pretty comfortably. So I think there's a real conversation about
the double steal.
The double steal, because Kim can steal as well.
Because in that case, a single would tie the game if we can get them to second and third.
Which Yandy is about as good as anybody at a 108 mile per hour line drive in the gap.
Yeah, I mean, Yandy's 2 for 4 today. And the pitching coaches had a quick word with Bautista before the at-bat with Yandy. So we'll see how this goes. It's the hope that kills you, folks. It's the hope that kills you. Because I was ready to give up on this game.
I know. What would you, if you were a pitcher in this exact scenario, what exactly would you want someone to say to you when they walked out there? What are you looking for?
If I was Felix Bautista,
yeah,
I think I'd just get reminded. I'd want to be reminded. Just be like, don't worry about like picking a spot. Your stuff will do the rest.
He immediately spikes one into the ground on the first pitch.
Yeah, just like don't think about like spotting it. Your stuff will do it. Just get it over the zone.
Yeah, that's what I imagine Eric says, or not Eric. Kyle Snyder says to our guys. I'm pretty sure it's some variation of that, unless it's a pinch hit situation where they've got to talk about, hey, just so you know, this guy does this and this and this. So if Yandy reaches but doesn't win the game, it would be Junior behind him. Oh,
Yes.
Which,
Yeah.
good chance to do something there.
Yeah. Your stream is like a second ahead of mine, I think.
Okay, so I'll delay my reactions by like a
second. Yeah, like 1 second.
This is good to know. Okay, I will delay my reactions by about a second.
Which it makes all the difference in a game of baseball, folks.
Yeah. Because what is it? It's like it's less than a second for the ball to get to the plate. So.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna
not look. Did he already make him? Yeah, don't look at me. I'm not gonna. That's not good.
I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm gonna full screen my stream so I don't get spoiled by you.
There you go. I'm not. I have been told that I have a very expressive face. I am not good at hiding my reactions to things, which I think is true.
Hold on. There we go. Yandy hits a fly ball to right. It is foul. Good, because it wouldn't have left the yard.
No, the Stein would have held it.
The Stein would have held it. Speaking of like that, Jackson Holiday home run to lead off the game was a 1 in 30 home run.
Brutal. I feel like the Rays have had nearly enough of those go our way.
Right.
There's been a couple, but like not nearly enough.
Yeah. All right, 1-2, Batista to Diaz. Let's see, it's outside. We're gonna do a 2-2. I don't know. Am I about a second behind what you're seeing?
Yeah. At least that or your reactions are more delayed than mine, one or the other. I don't know which one it is, but yeah. So 2-2 pitch. Probably gonna throw a fastball here. Try to blow it by him.
Let's see. Let's have a look. Here comes the pitch. It's in the dirt. It was a splitter.
Yeah.
Count's going to be full.
Count's going to be full. And, there's if you were going to make a list of your top guys for a full count situation based on their plate discipline, it's what? Yandy 1. Who is even number 2 after that? Maybe because Aranda swings a little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah. Aranda's been striking out a lot lately. The 3-2 is outside. Ball 4. Yandy draws a big at bat. Batista's thrown 28 pitches now. It'll be interesting to see if
are they warming anybody?
I don't know.
I didn't see them because they flashed to Pete warming up a second ago, but who obviously probably now is getting hot and heavy a little bit over there, getting ready because this is looking good.
I think with 1 out to get, they're going to let Cam in because this is the do or die at bat, right? Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't. If you walk him, then yes. But then if you walk him, then you face Aranda, I think.
Morel.
No.
Morel's on deck.
Morel. Okay. I know we just had the exact same thought at the exact same time. Would you just walk him and say, I think I can get
intentional walk with the bases loaded?
Not intentional walk, but like
pitch around.
Like I'm not going to give you a fastball in the zone at any point in this at bat. Like if I can land my slider, great, or my splitter or whatever he throws, like that's awesome. But I'm not going to give you a fastball in the strike zone.
No, I think I'd still try and get this guy out. Although Bautista is losing the zone fast. He's behind 2-0 on Caminero.
They have to have somebody up, surely. Because
I guess the Orioles are like, Batista's either going to get Caminero here or we're going to lose the game.
I guess. Yeah. That's probably factually correct. Probably factually correct.
It's 3-0 now. But then, yeah, if you walk him, do you you don't want to, do you fancy his chances to get it together by the time Morel comes to the plate?
And in this pitch in particular, you can't.
If Caminero swings, I'll be furious.
Because he's sitting red dead heater right now.
Oh, he just caught the zone on that 3-0 pitch.
Oh, he did not catch the zone. What's the name of this guy back here? He did not catch the zone. That's terrible. Are you kidding me? Home ballpark, home bottom of the 9th. You're calling outside fastballs on a 3-0 pitch. Come on, dog.
All right, 3-1. No, this is a big pitch. Big pitch. This 3-1.
I still don't swing challenge, I think.
Junior chased.
See, that's a terrible call. on 3-0. That's not a
Yeah,
strike.
but Junior should not be swinging at that either.
No,
you should be looking
be.
one pitch, one spot. All right,
But
the runners are going to go. Runners are
Yes.
going to go with the pitch. So a base hit will tie the game.
Base hit will tie the game. A
extra base hit would win it.
Yeah, extra base hit would win it.
Swing and a miss. Game over. Orioles win 5-3. Absolutely brutal when Caminero probably should have got the walk.
He should be on first.
And it would be 5-4.
It's time.
Junior should have also not swung
at
that 3-1 pitch where don't swing challenge failed.
Yeah, don't swing challenge failed.
The 3-2 pitch was a good pitch.
Yeah, that was a good pitch. Fastball down in the zone.
But yeah, sucks. Tough one to lose when we rallied in the ninth like that. With a vulnerable Felix Bautista. But which doesn't happen.
That's often. where I'm personally don't want the automated zone for every single pitch. What I do want is the challenge system. I do want that because that's exactly why I want the challenge system, because that is a key moment in the game where the ump got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough because, I mean, obviously Junior shouldn't have swung at that 3-1 pitch, but he also should be on first, and it should be 5-4 with Christopher Morel up to bat.
So that pitch, according to StatCast, is like extremely borderline. That one that was 3-0. Yeah. They're saying it's like extremely, like it could have got called either way.
Which, how is he getting the benefit of the doubt
right
from the umpire?
Yeah.
That's crazy that he's getting the benefit of the doubt from the umpire on that pitch, especially when the pitch to Yandy on the first pitch of the at bat to Yandy was about the same spot, and he called it a ball, very similar location.
The next pitch was actually further off the zone.
Yeah, that was a bad swing. But again, it's a swing born from it's 3-1 now. I don't want to strike out looking or take 2 strikes looking, which he should know better to be willing to take that strike looking if it, but he's also 22.
He's 22 and he wanted to be the hero.
He wanted to be the hero. I can't blame. I mean, and honestly, to me, that's kind of why it's frustrating, because it's like he did the right thing on that 3-0 pitch, because he couldn't. It's a fastball up. He wants to get his arms extended and swing at that pitch, but he doesn't because he's trying to be disciplined and take his walk, and the umpire did not reward him for that, which is frustrating.
It is frustrating, but I want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in for today. We've got the series win against the O's. Let's do the same against the White Sox and the Reds, which is what we're going to do before we next talk to you.
Yes.
And let us know all your thoughts on the trade deadline, on the All-Star week, the draft, all of that good stuff by letting us know on the socials down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Zach, do you have anything else that you want to say?
No, just it's going to be a great second half, or the last third of the season. We're going to have a lot of fun. Going to win more baseball games. Raise up.
Raise up.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.